make sure that this is working. Testing, testing. Testing. Let's make sure that this is working. Hello, hello. Double check to make sure that this is live. If you guys are here, throw something in chat for me, and I'm going to get all this set up. Also, let me know how the audio sounds, and we'll get the show on the road here. It's been a while since we have made, I guess, any kind of video, especially a live stream. I was looking at the title of the last one that I did because I had to change it and just tweak some things, and it was, man, it was from a while ago. It was like, is Bitcoin bearish? And like, I don't think I've made an actual bearish Bitcoin video in so long. So awesome. Thank you, Chris. Welcome, Chris. Welcome, VA Rocks Hard. Welcome back, man. It's great to have all of you here today. Of course, we're going to be breaking down the wonderful Bitcoin. If you guys are watching this back, I know a lot of people like to watch this back because they can't always make it live. It's great to have all of you guys, past, present, future. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin today and doing a little bit of an analysis as to where I think Bitcoin's going, how I've been trading Bitcoin, you know, where it's going to go from here, 75K, 100K, 20K. What does that look like on the future of Bitcoin? What do the EMAs look like? What do the indicators and oscillators look like? Volume, moving averages, everything in between. There's a lot of stuff to look at because I haven't made a video in a while now. And then I also want to take requests like I always do from you guys, the audience, do some altcoin analysis, look at some things that you guys want me to look at, whether that's news or technical related, and do a little bit more of an analysis into that sphere as well. So hopefully you guys are ready. Buckle your seatbelts because this is going to be an action-packed episode, and there's going to be a whole lot of cool stuff to talk about. I'm actually really excited. If you guys are in the Discord at all, if you guys aren't in the Discord, highly recommend joining the Discord. It's free. There's no strings attached. It's just kind of where me and the community chat and reside, and we talk about all things cryptocurrency and sometimes stock related and stuff like that, sometimes even a little bit of real estate stuff. But yeah, just kind of where we chat and where my community resides. It's a lot of fun, but that's where I've been living over the last, like when I'm not making videos, it's usually because I'm trading a lot, whether that be in cryptocurrency or something else. I am trading a lot when I'm not making videos, and when I'm making a lot of videos, I'm necessarily, not always, but I'm necessarily not trading as much. So when I'm not making videos, and if you guys ever want to pick my mind about something, always make sure to just shoot me a message in the Discord, and I'm pretty fast to respond. So honestly, it's the best way to get a hold of me. Audio's good. Have y'all heard of what Charles Hoskinson said about BTC? No. Yo, VA Rocks. If you can, link that in chat, and I'd love to take a look at it. So let's get rid of the RSI and the MACD. And one thing I need to do is make sure that this gets posted into the Discord so that everybody knows that we are indeed live. Awesome. So, great to have everybody here. Looks like people are starting to go ahead and join. So let's go ahead and start getting into this guy. And I guess if anybody has questions and they get asked, we can always re-go over stuff. So, with Bitcoin being at, what are we at now? 57, 58,000. I have been trading Bitcoin and all of cryptocurrency a lot. Now, if you guys remember, when Bitcoin was surpassing its previous all-time high of like $20,000, I was like, all right, this is a very good chance that we could see a pullback from this. Again, we saw Bitcoin, or myself personally, saw Bitcoin go from $1,000 to $20,000. And let's actually visualize this on the chart. We'll load it up here. It's funny just how much we dwarfed the previous run-up with what we're looking at right now. So, myself personally watched Bitcoin go from $1,000 up to $20,000, from $20,000. Let's graph this like this. So we saw Bitcoin go from 1,000 to 20,000, from 20,000 to 3,000, from 3,000 to 14,000, from 14,000 down to 4,000, and then from 4,000 all the way up to where we're at now of, 58, almost 60,000. So it's no, it's no hidden factor that Bitcoin is a very volatile asset. So when we see Bitcoin go from this 1 to 20 to 3 to 14 to 4 to 40, it's one of those spots where you're like, all right, well, I've seen it do this a lot. Is this the time where I should take profit? And we saw the initial resistance up here. We even saw quite a nice sell-off. But as soon as the sell-off got bought back up, and it almost had a 100% retrace within a week's time, not even a week's time, it was a really good indicator that this could push even higher. Nothing for sure, but we saw the buying pressure come in over here. And so that was one of the times, I'm giving a little bit of a backstory here, but that was one of the times where I was scaling out of Bitcoin. And then as things continued to progress and show bullishness and institutional money and a lot of other good news started coming into this guy, that was where I started getting into a lot of trading once we started getting into this period. Now, once this period and above started happening, this was like the golden pocket, in my opinion, for trading, because what we saw is consolidate. And excuse me, where'd my drawing tool go? We saw the consolidation, the pullback that we needed, this falling channel, which is otherwise known as a bull flag, and then again, just another massive breakout. This is a textbook bull flag. It's beautiful, awesome to play, but now cryptocurrency has continued to move, and in between here, we had Bitcoin consolidating, altcoins ripping, vice versa happening, DeFi going nuts. I mean, there's just a ton of opportunity for trading, and I want to go over, I guess, what all that's looked like, because I've traded everything. Again, if you guys are in the Discord, I've talked about BAT, OMG, ZRX, Bitcoin, Ethereum. We talked about Litecoin. Stellar Lumens is something that I didn't personally trade, but a lot of the people in the Discord were trading. I mean, there's just a lot of cool stuff in there. And again, I'm not giving any financial advice or, telling people what to trade in there, but it's one of those things where we're all discussing what we are doing, and it's a really cool thing. So with Bitcoin being over in here, one of the things that I said right before the live stream came on is that I'm actually flat. So I was actually in a Bitcoin long, so to say, a non-leveraged Bitcoin long from around 50, I think it was like 52,000. Bitcoin had a beautiful play out over here, and this wick was actually reassuring me because I almost exited around like 56, 55, but when this wick came in over here and I saw that all of this get bought back up, and then the support layer around 56 hold right over in here, this is a really reassuring area. I want to zoom this in. That was a really reassuring sign for me that actually Bitcoin was going to go, even if it was just a little bit higher, and that we were going to break this local high of what we are seeing of around 57, the upper areas of 57, and probably pop up over 58, which is exactly what we did. So with Bitcoin doing this over here, I want to take a quick look at Ethereum before we come back to BTC, because I think one of the very important things to notice is that sometimes while Bitcoin has been moving upwards, Ethereum has been moving downwards, or while Ethereum has been moving upwards, Bitcoin has been moving downwards. Now, obviously, Bitcoin is the king of the altcoins, so when when Ethereum is the king of the altcoins, when Ethereum is moving up, the altcoins for the most part are moving up as well. And when Ethereum is moving down, we tend to see the same thing happening. So when Ethereum is moving over here, I think that one of the things that we can see is that Ethereum has been performing better in this local last couple of days than Bitcoin. Ethereum's actually seeing even a little bit of sell-off, while Bitcoin has just hit a new all-time high once again. So this is one of those times where, again, we're seeing the inverse pairing where cryptocurrency has different categories. Again, we have DeFi, we have the mainstream coin of Bitcoin and Litecoin, and then we have, and I say Litecoin backing Bitcoin because Litecoin is essentially just a test network for Bitcoin. And it's really just like a Bitcoin 2.0 kind of thing. And then you have all the utility that comes with all the rest of the altcoins. A lot of the ERC20s are bunched into there. And then you have the DeFi space, which is, again, they're all altcoins, but they behave in a little bit of a different manner. Like a lot of the altcoins, or excuse me, a lot of the DeFi coins like the Follow, Polkadot, and Chainlink, and a couple of those other ones. But with Ethereum being over here, we can see that this 200 EMA, or excuse me, the 50 EMA on this 4-hour timescale has been pretty consistent for the most part. Again, a lot of piercing action that we have over here just meant to stop people out if they have any kind of a type stop loss in here. But for the most part, the candle body closings holding above this 50 EMA since, all the way back to, what is this, February 1st. So lots of cool action happening over here on this Ethereum chart. And actually, one of the things that myself and I believe it was Chris in the Discord were talking about is looking at even potentially longing Ethereum over here, because the cryptocurrency market as of right now, while Bitcoin is moving upwards, Ethereum was looking a little bit undervalued. And again, we saw the same wick that we saw on Bitcoin, that wick where it wicked below 55,000 to that 54,000 area before getting bought back up. We're seeing the almost exact same price movement happening right over in here. So this is a quick thing. I want you guys to take a look, have some muscle memory here. Look and remember this little price action, especially these candle body closings, the giant wick that we're seeing, and then these little guys over in here and over in here. Because if we go back to the Bitcoin chart, we are going to see something eerily similar, and we're going to have to zoom in just a little bit, but we're going to look at this over here. And so what we see is pretty much the initial thing over here. We have our resistance level, we have the big old wick that we were talking about over here that is considerably larger than the rest, and then we have these consolidation ones holding relatively around the same level. So what, in my opinion, what this looks like is that this could be a precursor for what Ethereum could be getting ready to do. And so as we see Bitcoin potentially go back down and maybe even fall here, you know, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I still think that Ethereum has some more upside over here, because what we could see is while Ethereum has already tested the 50 EMA, I think Bitcoin's a lot farther from it. I think what we could see happen is Bitcoin come back down towards this 50 EMA while Ethereum decides to go towards the upside. So kind of them just trading places where Ethereum bounced off of the 50 EMA, it goes upwards, and now we have a Bitcoin coming back down to the 50 EMA so that it can bounce and then Ethereum can fall, and they can kind of take place teeter-tottering their way up the chart, you know, up the price movement, so that they can both hit higher overall price evaluations, which is something that oddly enough they've been doing so well. You know, a lot of the time it's hard to find the balance between those two and how things teeter-totter their way up like that, where one asset loses and one asset gains, only for them to both consistently be gainers throughout an entire period of time. But they've both Ethereum, both the altcoins and Bitcoin have been playing it beautifully, where one falls 5% and then they move up 10%, so that the gains are always maximizing over the losses, which is a really cool thing to see. So that's just my little 2 cents on Bitcoin and what this is looking like. I'm currently flat. I'm not in any leveraged. I'm not in any swings, non-leveraged or anything like that. I hold like a very small amount of altcoins right now, but for the most point, I am very, I guess, cautious is the word for cryptocurrency. Again, I've seen this thing go from, you know, I mean, just so many over all the years. I think that the most recognizable one for the most of you would be from when Bitcoin went from 20K to 3K in such a short period of time. And we already looked at that, so I don't want to go back. I was going to go back to it, but we already looked at it, so we don't even need to go back to it. But, you know, in the same case here, Bitcoin, and I know it's very unlikely because of how much institutional money has come into here. I think that that's one of the greatest strengths for Bitcoin right now. But it's, you know, it's very possible that Bitcoin could go from 50K to 30K in like days, like overnight. Like you could take a little vacation, or you could take your eyes off this, feel comfortable, come back in 2 days, and Bitcoin could be at 30K. It's possible. I mean, we've seen it do stuff like that before. We've seen it lose 60, 70, 80% of its value on these massive downsides. You know, granted, once we get over that 50% mark, it tends to take, you know, months instead of, you know, days or a week. But it's very possible. I'm very, very aware of that, and I want to be, I'm not sure what the word would be. I just want to be very alert, because the gains that have been made since I was buying Bitcoin from like $3,000 to $6,000 all the way up to $60,000, you know, depending on if I bought at 3K or 6K. I mean, I'm looking at almost 2,000%, which is it's incredible. So it's awesome, and I want to make sure that I don't get greedy with that, and that I'm kind of just doing this thing where I'm playing this very intelligently, which is what I think everyone should be doing. But again, nothing I say is legal, financial, or tax advice. Crux said, "What's up, Brendan? Just queuing for some Dota and thought I'd stop by for a bit." Awesome, dude. Welcome. League of Legends is better. No hate. That guy said that Bitcoin will die and ADA will take over. It's delusional. Yeah, I would I think delusional is a very good word for that. He probably has, see, people who say stuff like that probably have large amounts of money into a specific cryptocurrency, and they just want to shill it. It happens all the time. It's nuts. Especially with the market caps being at, I understand when the market caps were like, when you know, Litecoin was a couple dollars, or when things are a whole lot lower of a market cap, you can manipulate it a whole lot easier by telling a bunch of people to go buy something. But when the market cap's up 15 times what it was a year ago, it's going to be a lot harder to move. Haven Protocol, XHV, will be a 2021 top performer. Researcher is fast. Thorchain and X assets coming soon to KuCoin. I think I've actually heard of Haven Protocol, but I do not use KuCoin a lot. Looks like consolidation couldn't have been me. I've been longing an 8x Ethereum, never mind, since 990. That's awesome. Yeah, if you guys haven't already, hit that like button. It's free and it helps out the channel, helps it get out to more people. Let's go ahead and zoom out just a bit here and look at our volume, because the volume is something that I love to look at as a precursor for Bitcoin. And I almost made a video, like, I don't know, probably 5 days ago, talking about how Bitcoin was pushing higher and volume was falling off, which is something that we've kind of seen, which is still for the most part true. If we want to look down here, I want to, there we go. That's probably the best way to show it. We can see that for the most part, you know, the volume as a median is falling off a little bit. We have these surges and spikes, but they are getting consistently lower, which is telling me that we could be getting ready for some sort of a squeeze or a large move. We really haven't seen a big red candle in a while, and looking at this on a daily timescale is just, again, it's nuts. We had the red day where Bitcoin went all the way from 57K down to 53K. I think that's 53K, but it got bought back up immediately, and then it hit a new all-time high the very next day. But I think that this is a very popular area for where we could see a retracement on Bitcoin. Again, don't take my word on it. Obviously, it could blow to 100K next week, but I think that looking at this and the way that Bitcoin's behaving, looking at how this volume is decreasing while Bitcoin is moving higher, makes me a little bit nervous. One of the things I think I've already said in the live stream is that I actually sold off the rest of my Bitcoin today. I was in a beautiful long, but seeing that the way that this is behaving is a little bit concerning in my opinion. Nothing detrimental that could be like Bitcoin's going back to $1,000 from here. Nothing like that. But we could see Bitcoin pull back a little bit, and that's kind of the thing that I'm a little bit nervous to see. I want to see how Monday plays out. I want to see how the morning open happens and how that might affect the price of Bitcoin. You know, do people want to get in? Do people want to get out? Is there going to be selling and shorting? Is it going to rip? I want to see what happens in here. Maybe it's just even consolidation, but maybe we can see something similar like what we saw over in here, where we see a bull flag get painted and then a breakout to a new all-time high. So again, a lot of just curiosity that's happening in over here. And again, I want to be very conservative with what's happening with my money and how that's getting allocated. So just sitting back, enjoying the view, gonna watch what gets played out over the first couple of days of this week, and then kind of reassess what I want to do on Bitcoin. But I think that this is a very popular area where Bitcoin could retest a lower price. So just watching the coming weeks to see if there is any kind of a retest on Bitcoin, because it could very much be possible. Again, nothing long-term and detrimental. I'm not saying that this is the end of the bull market, but it could be possible that we see some sort of a pullback like we did over here. Retest of 48,000, or is that too much of a dump? So if we want to talk about something that I'm actually really surprised that we didn't do, one of the most common themes I talk about in my videos is the break, hook, and goes. And what that means is that we break out of a resistance level, we retest it as support, and then we continue up to a higher price, or vice versa if we're in a bear market. So what I was expecting here is that we had this previous all-time high, or this previous high of 41,500. I was really expecting us to come over here, break out of this, come back, retest this very same level, and then continue to the upside. But we actually never did that. So what we can see is that previous highs are very consistent areas where Bitcoin should retest, if anywhere. So I think that if anything, it's possible that this consolidation area of around 48,000, I think that that's a really good one. If it breaks this 48,000, I think all the way down to about 42,000. Anywhere from 42 to 40 could be another really, really good one. And if we saw Bitcoin come all the way down here and then bounce, just like a beautiful bounce, I think it would be such a telltale sign that Bitcoin could be going to $100,000 afterwards, which is something I didn't think I would say in a long time. I mean, if you guys watch my old videos, I would always say, you know, Bitcoin would probably be going towards like $50,000. But even when I got to like $100,000, $2,000, I was always very hesitant to say that stuff because I think that I was concerned about how Bitcoin's blockchain would be able to handle it, or if that was even possible. And clearly, it's very possible for us to hit $60,000 because we are currently doing it as we speak. Do you guys want me to take a look into any altcoins? Let's take a look over into, okay, well, actually we gotta finish this up. Anyway, we're talking about the volume. I got sidetracked. EMAs are still looking crazy awesome on Bitcoin. 50 EMA and 200 EMA. 4-hour and 1-day charts are my favorite. I've talked about them so many times, but they're awesome. MACD is not really telling us anything. One of the things that I was going to make in the video that never came out, I had the thumbnail and everything made for it, was the fact that we were seeing quadruple bullish divergence on Bitcoin, something that we have not seen in a very long time, but nonetheless, it was actually happening over here. Now, if you guys don't know how the MACD works or what quadruple bullish divergence is or anything like that, essentially what this means and what I'm talking about is that we had a swing low, a higher swing low, another higher swing low, and then another higher swing low, showing that every time we were moving to the downside, it was weaker than before, showing me that the bears were losing strength upon every time that they were selling off. So the gist of this, it was telling me again that the bears were getting consistently weaker 4 separate times, and for me that's just a perfect setup of when this thing crosses over, it's going to blow up. And if we want to go ahead and look at the chart, we can measure this out to being around $50,000, and of course that quadruple bullish divergence broke out and ended, and then we went from that $50,000 all the way up to almost $60,000. So played out very beautifully, and that's one of the things that I was actually looking at in my long. So after we broke that $50,000 mark, again, I was concerned that $50,000 would be more of a psychological resistance, but we broke that $50,000, retested it as support right over in here, and this is when I was like, all right, I got to get long on this thing. The little break hook and go of psychologicals. RSI, there's really not much going on over here. This is one of the things I was looking at on, prior to the live stream, just doing my personal analysis. We have seen consistently higher swing lows on this RSI. I mean, it's just awesome. This thing has just been on a roll. Such a good sign to see. And we have not seen a lower macro swing high in months. So, hence why there's been no sell-off. I mean, there has not been a significant sign of weakness. But, that's not to say that we can't see it. I mean, that could be happening in the future days where we come over here, come up, show that lower swing high, sell off to a lower low. And that could be a sign that Bitcoin is going to see a little bit of downside. But as for the time being, we haven't seen any of that yet. Brawl Ball God said, I'm 16 and new to all of this. I bought 1 Ether at 450, sold it 1,200. What should I get into next? So, first of all, man, I see the crying emoji. You can't cry if you made gains. A win's a win, and the time period that you went from $450 to $1,200 in, you made almost 250% in such a short amount of time. So don't ever be ashamed at how much you won. You can't look at the maximum that you could have made in every trade because it's not realistic. You're not going to be able to play every trade perfectly from Bitcoin to do 3K to 60K and then sell off at 60K and buy back in at 40K. If that's what happens, you can't play it all perfectly. And the fact that you made 250% is more than most people will make in the next 5 years. So that's never beat yourself up about that. When you say what you should get into next, I think ultimately that is something that I'm legally not allowed to tell you. But what I like to look at when I'm looking at into altcoins and which ones I want to get into, the biggest thing is which ones are undervalued. Like if altcoins are running, if, you know, say example, DeFi is running really hot, Polkadot's moving, everything's, you know, or let's just say like Link's moving and all these other things are moving really hot, but Polkadot's kind of down and it hasn't really had its move yet. I would look into Polkadot, you know, look into the reason as to why it hasn't moved. And then if there's not some crazy reason, I would say it's undervalued. You know, DeFi's taking off, and this is all theoretical, but you know, Polkadot is the one that hasn't moved yet. Or if smart contract and decentralized application cryptocurrencies are moving a lot, and there's one that's held down like Cardano and it hasn't moved yet, I would look at getting into Cardano because all the other decentralized and smart contract cryptocurrencies are doing really, really well, and it just hasn't had its move yet. Obviously, I think that was one of the things with Cardano. We saw Ethereum start taking off. We saw, and then, I mean, now we're seeing Cardano take off as well. So really just finding what's overvalued, finding which has a good working product and a consistent team. And that's just what I look at. Just literally, I think the best thing you can do is if it has a good chart and it's undervalued and other cryptocurrencies that are similar are doing good, looking at it. I honestly do a lot of charting. It's my favorite thing to do. Can you look at Ontology? I absolutely can. We also want to look at VET. VET. Brendan, $2 this bull run. Let's take a look. Okay. Look at Ontology first and then VET. So Ontology to the US dollar. So this is what I'm talking about. This is a little bit of a weird one, but I want to zoom out just a tad. So let's take a look at this. With Ontology specifically, what we saw over here, and this is going to be, I need to move this to a daily. What we saw was this previous high of right here, right? We have this crazy candle, but for the most part, we saw Ontology break out, retest this level right in here. What was previously resistance is now turned support, as we can see by these couple of candle body closings above it, and then it broke out. Now, if we want to go back to this 4-hour chart, we can see the exact same thing hopefully taking place over here. One of the things to highlight, the 50 EMA on this 4-hour time scale, it's a dime. I mean, it's holding candle body closing above, candle body closing above, candle body closing above. And then every time it's done this, it's had a beautiful price action movement to the upside, and then most recently to the upside once again. One of the things I'd be looking at is this previous top going to be getting used, or is it being used as support? What was previously resistance of the yearly high, is it going to be used as support? And it looks like it is. Now, these candles up here are 3 pretty nasty wicks, but this is a lower market cap altcoin, so you're going to have more volatility. If this was something on Bitcoin, I would definitely be a little bit more concerned, but you're with these lower market cap altcoins, you're going to have more volatility, you're going to have larger wicks come in and stuff like that, and that's not going to be uncommon, which means that sometimes it is going to stop you out more than often. But with this happening, I mean, this so far looks like it's for the most part holding. You know, what was previously resistance looks like it's now being turned as support. Again, we had these 2 massive wicks over here, but you know, the very next 2 candles after it sold off some, broke right above this. So I think so long as this continues to be used as support, this is a really, really good sign of that break, hook, and go that I was talking about, where we break the resistance, test it as support, and then we go to a higher price. Also, I really like how it's held the 50 EMA on this 4-hour chart. Volume's doing great. Just hit a new personal high on volume on this 4-hour chart that it hasn't seen in a very long time. MACD looks like it is seeing a little bit of bearish potential, but you had the double bullish. So you had the double bullish divergence right over here, and it's probably just winding down a little bit from that. The RSI, there is not much to see. VET to the USD. Let's see what we got over here. Yeah, jeez, dude, this thing took off. So, I'm looking at this on a daily. I don't like these wicks, but let's... Yeah, when you... I don't know. That's on a 3-day. When you break it down on, like, a 1-day or even a 4-hour, it looks a whole lot better. Same thing over here. This 50 EMA on this 4-hour timescale is awesome. And I'm going to say that a lot. I say it, I feel like I say it almost every YouTube video and live stream, but it's so true. Like, it is such an awesome tool that I feel like more people should know about. But it held over here, it held again, it held again. If I was personally looking at any kind of a buy, if I loved that and I really wanted to trade it, I would be looking at the 50 EMA on this 4-hour time scale. If it started breaking down below this consistently and testing this as resistance, I would look at the 200 EMA as the next support. Now, that is obviously a very large gap from where it's at right now. You have a little bit of a loss of like 5% to the 50 EMA. And if you're looking at the 200, that's about a 27% downside. We can see over here that whenever the 50 EMA broke, and when this was starting to get used, see it was previously support, broke below it, tested it as resistance, and where did the support come from? It was from this 200 EMA. Oh, you guys can't see this. I'm so sorry. I am sitting in the way. All right. So let's go back over here. So ever since VET had its golden cross, after this like little death cross over here, again, the 50 EMA being used as support, we had this death cross fake out happen, and then again the 50 EMA was support. It was support again, it was support again, it was support again. It broke below the 50 EMA, and where did it fall to? It fell right to the 200 EMA, and what did it do next? Is it actually tested the 50 EMA as support. So, or excuse me, resistance. So when the 50 EMA is used as resistance, we come back to the 200 EMA, and that is where we have pretty much always held. Now, there is a little bit of exceptions where it had this one time over here, but for the most part, these 50 EMAs and the 200 EMAs are such a good opportunity of when to buy, because when one's getting used as when one's getting used as resistance, the other one is being used as support. Reoccurring theme that's been happening for a long time on this guy. And yeah, so again, I don't think anything's different over here. The spread is obviously larger, but I think that the same theory that we have been using for months and months on months of VET would be the same concept that would be applied over here. Again, just the spread is a lot larger than what it has previously done. So that's my 2 cents on VET. Volume falling off a little bit, but check out ALTCOIN. What do I think about it? I believe Google backed it. ALTCOIN. Sounds like a... Let's find out. By the way, if you guys ever have any questions in the live stream, or if you guys are watching this back and have any questions, don't be afraid to shoot me a message on Discord. There's a link to that in the description down below. ALTCOIN. Let's see this thing. Oh, it's a hash graph. Hetero hash graph. Rank number 68. H bar. It's on Binance. All right. So I do not know anything about this crypto. Well, technically this hash graph, but let's take a look at it. Same concept happening over here. What was previously the high is now being used as support. It broke above this. What was previously resistance is now support. Beautiful, beautiful pocket for this guy to complete this. Broke above it, retested support, and then ripped to a new all-time high afterwards. The 50 EMA, what can I say? It's being used as support consistently. when it broke it. This one didn't even actually go to the 200, so a little bit of a fake out over in here. But the consistent, or the really important fact is that this low held actually 3 separate times. So it held, all 3 of this in this little pocket. If it would have broken below this, I think that's when you would have retested the 200 EMA, but never even got to that. As soon as it broke back above this and tested it as support, I would have been looking to enter in. And again, it's still bouncing off of this. So assuming Bitcoin doesn't do anything crazy, it should hit assuming Bitcoin and Ethereum don't tank, I would imagine that it continues to hit a new all-time high as well. But, I mean, it's a hash graph, so it's a little different. So is this a buy for Hedera? I mean, I know nothing about them. If I was looking at anything, I would like to enter again. I think that the best areas for a lot of these altcoins is that 50 EMA on this 200, this 50 EMA on the 4-hour time scale is one of my favorite areas to enter altcoins right now, because it's self-explanatory. When it gets to this yellow line, it tends to just bounce. There's no other more simple way to put that, but that's my favorite area to buy to buy any of these altcoins, most of them. This guy's already bounced off of it just a little bit. So, I mean, if I was looking to get into this, I would have to be okay with losing like 8 or 9%. And if it broke that 8 or 9% loss, I think that it would be a whole lot worse, and that would probably be my stop loss if I took this trade. Now, if I was entering where the 200 EMA is, or not the 200, the 50 EMA, then my loss would get mitigated to like 4 or 5%. So I'd be cutting that in half. But it's already bounced off of it. So, is it a buy? Again, I can't, it's not a buy for me. Hence why I'm flat. I'm flat everything. But I used to be a whole lot more of a very, I don't know what to say at the opposite of conservative. Is it liberal? I used to be a whole lot more of a liberal trader, an energy trader. I traded a ton, took a lot of risk, sometimes made a ton of money. But I'm at the point now where, with my portfolio growing to where it is, I don't want to trade that style anymore, because it's so easy. Like, there have been times where I've gone from like a Bitcoin to a tenth of a Bitcoin, but the vice versa. I've gone from a tenth of a Bitcoin to a Bitcoin. And with the amount of money that I'm trading now, I don't want to lose 90%. I don't want to risk losing 90%, because I don't know. It's just, it's too much money. So I think that is, it ultimately depends. If you're just getting started, one of the best things I learned is that Warren Buffett's always preaching this idea, and I'm gonna rant here a little bit on the side, but one of the best things that I always learned is that in the beginning, when Warren Buffett got started, he used and focused on leverage to get him catapulted to where he's at today. When he started, he didn't start by just buying a bunch of dividend stocks, sitting there, putting a little bit of money into a Roth IRA or a Vanguard fund, and just letting it compound over time. That wasn't how he got started. That wasn't how he got his first, millions of dollars. He used leverage to get his first large initial investment of money, and then once he had a large wad of money afterwards, then he started doing the safe investing and letting that large sums of money compound into even larger sums of money. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't understand, is that when you get started, you're not going to be able to put $100, $1,000, even $10,000 into even a high yield dividends account of like 7% a year. It's just not going to get you to financial freedom if that's what you're going for, or even a house. It's not going to get you there with $10,000, or $1,000 or $100. Like, you have to leverage your money in order to make more money. And ultimately, when you have the least amount of money, that for me is the easiest area to take risks, because it's a whole lot easier to earn back $1,000 that you lost than $100,000 that you lost. And so when I was getting started out, I used a lot of leverage and a lot of other things too to get, and I lost a lot. You know, when at first I lost a lot, but then like learning, obviously leverage just multiplies your ability to make wealth. And so I don't know. I think that if you're just getting started and you're playing the market too passively, like it can be a very frustrating experience because you're not seeing the return that you want to. And I feel like so many young investors are, and I'm young too. I'm 23 years old, but I mean I've been doing this since I was in high school, and since I was like, so I don't know what, 15, 16 was when I first found out about crypto, Bitcoin specifically. Now that I think about it, it's almost 8 years ago, which is crazy. Do you think Binance is manipulating Ethereum's price action by suppressing it with Smart Chain capitalizing on the high gas fees? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think that they could be, but I don't know if it would be as much in their favor. If Binance really wanted to manipulate things, they would become US. Well, I guess they are technically US regulated now. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it could be. But ultimately, like, they want to see cryptocurrency very volatile because that means that there's more orders getting transacted if it's more volatile and there's more volume. And ultimately, they make more fees and commission off of that, and it's going to make them more money. What is the Graph Reader app? Oh, this guy. So this is called TradingView. It's a free website that you can access from your browser, and it's awesome. I've been using this for years, and it is awesome. So I pay for the Pro, or for like one of the paid versions. I don't even know what plan I have, but I pay for this guy, but you can access it for free. The Pro just gets me like more abilities. Like I can have multiple moving averages and volumes, and I can have all this fancy stuff on here. I think that if you have a free version, like I even have a Bollinger Bands hidden, but if you want to get the free version, you can still have like 3 free indicators and 1 chart at a time. Since I pay for a Pro, I think I can have like 3 or 5 charts all up side by side. But yeah, anyway, back to Bitcoin or Ethereum. My 3 favorite altcoins that I have been trading have been Bitcoin, OMG, or Bitcoin, geez, BAT, OMG, and ZRX. So 0x token, Amise Go, and Basic Attention token. For whatever reason, those have been awesome altcoins to trade. I feel like their chart has been so self-explanatory and just so straightforward, so textbook. Like, you look at the chart, it looks bullish, you long it as support, it rips to a new all-time high, and it's just awesome. And I want to look at those in a second too. But with Ethereum being where it's at right now, I'm still thinking about that Ethereum long. I think that I probably won't get into any kind of a leverage position until after Monday open. I really want to see how everything reacts because NASDAQ has been kind of going off of a... that's the wrong contract. NASDAQ has been going somewhat crazy. I mean, it's been falling pretty heavily. I don't even know how much it has been. About 3%, which is a lot for an indice. If NASDAQ continues to fall to this, you know, I would be very curious to see how cryptocurrency reacts to this. And that's the main thing that I'm looking for, is because I'm betting that the indices are going to be volatile of probably at least 1 to 2% move over the first 1 to 2 days of Monday, Tuesday. So, I don't know. I'm really kind of just waiting right now to see how everything reacts before I get into a leverage position again. Let's go to ZRX, because that's been an awesome one. I'm going to create an invite as well. This is going to last 1 day so that I don't get too many bots. But if you guys want to join the Discord, it's completely free. It's just a place where my community resides and talks. ZRX. So let's talk about ZRX a little bit. What did I see on ZRX? Now, the trade that I actually took and that I was talking about in Discord was right in here. What I saw was ZRX forming an ascending triangle. If you guys don't know what that is, that's holding the same level of resistance while having a climbing level of support, which is what we were seeing over here. We saw the initial rejections, the follow-up rejections happening over in here, but the climbing level of support happening. So when this was all going down, I think it was a pretty straightforward, hey, this is bullish, because the bulls are gaining momentum and they're gaining ground while the bears are just holding their current ground and they're not able to get anything on the bulls. Got into the long here, had it break out, ended up selling at like, I don't even remember what I sold at, somewhere not too low, probably somewhere in this little pocket. Saw that there was resistance happening and, kind of just exited. It wasn't anything too crazy or greedy, but it was an awesome, very, very easy to read thing happening. And now with this guy kind of just mumbo-jumboing between this 50 EMA, I really don't want to go anywhere near it. With BAT, I think BAT actually looks fairly good. I think BAT has one last resistance that I'm worried about, but BAT's probably been one of the altcoins that I'm watching the most. Again, what I liked a lot over here is I think I sold a lot of my BAT off when it was over in... I got into BAT. It obviously had this massive run up. I was selling it off up in here, seeing that the second massive wick was a lower swing high than the previous one. That was a pretty telltale sign that this was probably going to move back down towards the downside. Came back to the 50 EMA, had the candle body closings above it, using it as support. This would have been a great time to buy in. I can't remember if I was trading this zone. I don't think that I was. Or maybe I was a little bit, but my main trading zone was like in here. And now that this is over here, again, holding this 50 EMA, using it as support, and I really kind of will like the way that this is looking. The last thing that I'm looking at for BAT is this little bit of falling resistance, and you can kind of connect this even a little bit more. Probably not. This is probably the best way to look at it. Obviously, there's a little bit more resistance that's going to pinch this guy between this falling level of resistance. What in the world? That's weird. Between this falling level of resistance and this 50 EMA. So time will tell. I think BAT is one of the top ones that I'm looking at this week. And Mise Go. Mise Go is in a little bit better of an area than ZRX. ZRX, again, I just don't like the way that it's looking around that 50 EMA. But with a Mise Go, I really like the way that this guy is, or not really like, I like it more than ZRX. It's somewhat holding this 50 EMA, but I think that ultimately, if altcoins are going to go anywhere, I think that this is, again, one of those undervalued assets. It's not at all-time highs. It's actually, if we want to do some quick math, this guy is all the way down over 21.5% from its all-time high. Now, that could be an area, again, where if the asset's good, which I think that they have a great product, it could be an undervalued asset if cryptocurrency continues to move higher. Because if cryptocurrency doesn't continue to move higher and Bitcoin and Ethereum start falling, this is going to fall right with it. But if they continue to the upside and the altcoins have another surge rally, this is almost a, very easy, in my opinion, 15-20%. DXY is almost ready to go through the floor. Oh yeah. US dollar currency index. Yeah, I mean, and so what I think that another thing that people don't understand is that part of the reason that Bitcoin is running so hard is because the US dollar, which we pair it against, is falling so drastically. Like, geez. Like, just look at this. Since October. It's crazy. And so drastically for a fiat currency. I mean, 5% in 4 months is crazy. and almost double that. I mean, look at this. Over 10% in less than a year. 10% fall in a fiat currency in 9 months. So, I mean, no wonder cryptocurrency is moving so well, because the very thing that we pair it to and against is devaluing while cryptocurrency is increasing. I mean, it's a dumpster fire. I mean, it's great for all the cryptocurrency people because they're profiting off of it. I mean, it's a double-edged sword right now, because cryptocurrency is moving up while the very thing that it's paired to is moving down, and it's just making it, instead of it moving 2 times as fast to the upside, it's moving 4 times as fast. It's awesome. But my voice is starting to go out a little bit, so we will probably start wrapping this guy up. If you guys have any other questions, again, feel free to join the Discord. Love to have you guys in there, and I am more than happy to chat with you guys. If you guys ever, one of the things that I think that's going to happen here is a second channel is going to be started, but I'm just not sure about it yet because I already have such little time to post to this channel. So, you know, I've thought all about it a lot. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a second channel, because one of the things that I'm doing a ton of right now is futures contracts for like NASDAQ and stuff like that, E-mini contracts. So 100 times leverage of NASDAQ shares essentially. And another thing is real estate. If you guys don't know, getting into real estate, which is something that I've always wanted to get into do, and rental properties and all of that stuff. And that's one of the other things that I'm getting into. So posting videos about things that are stock related or index or futures contracts related or real estate related is something whether I am determining whether to put on this channel and have more content or create a separate channel, because people, you know, a lot of the people in here just want to see crypto stuff. So over 20% of all dollars were printed in the last year. That is a scary number. And, oh man, I mean, there's so many things I could talk about over here, VA Rocks. But, I mean, like, if you look at the dollar's devaluation since it was taken off the gold standard in the early 70s, I think the dollar has lost 96% of its value since Nixon was out of office. Which is, I mean, that's incredible. I mean, it's incredibly awful. For one of the most powerful countries in the world to lose almost like 95% of their fiat currency's valuation in like 40 years is crazy. I mean, people say that Bitcoin is risky. People say that cryptocurrency is risky. But when a fiat currency that's supposed to be stable loses 95% of its valuation since Nixon was out of office, that's risky. I don't want anything that by the time I die is going to be worth 96% less than it is right now. I mean, if you would have held any other asset, gold, silver, real estate, I mean, you could have even held a car and it would have held better value than the dollar. I mean, it's crazy. Anyway, that's my little rant as to people calling Bitcoin a risky investment. I think fiat's an even more risky investment because I mean, you have some fiat currencies that are devaluing at 5 to 7% a year. And you can bet that this year has not helped that process slow down. So, who knows? Highly interested. What do you guys think about BSV? It's gone sideways for months. What is BSV? It's crypto. Are you talking about the crypto BSV? Nixon and Wilson's the worst presidents ever. We're talking about the cryptocurrency because it's because the masses were born into the USD. It's easier for the big wigs to play anything else. Fun. Jeez. You know, that looked really volatile until I zoomed out. And then I noticed that it was moving in matters of cents. Zoom back in. What have we covered already? We've covered just about everything, but feel free to ask any questions that you want, Bogdan off. We are getting ready to wind this guy down. If you guys do have any final questions, by all means, drop those in chat or drop them in Discord, and I will get those out. But I do think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. My voice is getting a little froggy. And if you guys don't know, during the day, I'm a marketing and sales manager, so I definitely need my voice for that. Or else I would definitely be struggling this week. All right. If there are no final questions, guys, I'm going to go ahead and head out. If you guys need me, I will be in the Discord, or you guys can shoot me an email. Okay. But never mind. Looks like we got to cover it now. We got comp, AAV, and BNB. We have not covered any of those. But I bought comp today, and I sold it today as well. So let's go ahead and do this. Man, you caught me at the perfect time, Bog. Perfect time. I was about to hit the end button. All right. Comp to the USD. I need to zoom out a little bit over here. This is not the exchange that I want. All right. This works. So with comp being over here, so fundamentally on comp, I believe comp is a DeFi token. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I believe it's one of the DeFi tokens. For the most part, obviously having a great year. I was looking at comp when it was a lot lower, and I never pulled the trigger, and I really, really regret it. But comp doing a great job of making a name for itself. You know, it really doesn't have too much chart to go back and do any kind of historical analysis on. And it's not using the 50 EMA. It's not using the 50 EMA like a lot of these other altcoins are. Now, granted, it's in the world of DeFi, so it's almost in its own subcategory of altcoins. But it is at a hard place because a lot of the time the altcoins are easy because you either say buy at the 50 EMA or buy at the 200 EMA or sell at one and buy at the other or something like that. But with Compound, it's not as easy because it's kind of mumbo jumboing. You know, sometimes it's holding above it, and let's get rid of this guy. All right, it's gonna bug me if I leave it there. Sometimes we are mumbo jumboing above this area and holding it and using it as support. Other times we're using it as a resistance, as we are right now. This is a little bit of a dangerous sign, in my opinion. The fact that these most recent candles have been seeing it get used as resistance instead of support, whereas for a lot of cryptocurrencies right now, this is getting used as support, and this is the vice versa on comp. So that definitely does make me a little bit nervous. Also, I guess more of a bright side is you do have some support over here. You can see that there is consistently higher swing lows on these attempts to the downside, but you know, definitely not what I want to see in a really, really bullish chart for the most part. Again, I like the consistent higher swing lows, and I like that there are these buying wicks to the downside. That's usually a really, really good sign that something is bullish and could head higher, because it's showing that there are buyers very comfortable in this area. But I don't like how the resistance looks. Again, I really wish that all of this was happening above the 50 EMA. I would be very hesitant to buy it. Doesn't mean that it can't take off, but definitely not one of the top altcoins that I would be looking at right now, just from a technical perspective. If I was looking at any kind of support, I would say the 200, but the 200 is just below I mean, it would be below the last technical area that it has, because that would be below the end of these wicks. And if it broke below the end of these wicks, I mean, it would probably pop the 200 EMA as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard, man. It's in a big range. I just don't like the way that the chart looks at its current price. I think it's a little bit scary and risky, and so for that reason, I'm staying away from it. AAVE to the USD. That's a fairly new crypto on Coinbase. So with AVE, this is another tough one. It's kind of in the same situation. So this one's a little bit easier because it has this support line that's really, really consistent. If I was looking at any kind of an entry on something like this, I would be doing it towards the support. But again, the fact that it's rejecting the 50 EMA is a little bit scary. If I was looking at any kind of a buy for AVE, myself personally, I would look somewhere around this white line, because it would have to be a higher swing low for me to be interested in it, and it would also have to be something that I could keep a decent stop loss on. So if I was going for any kind of an entry, and let's just say my entry would be around 415, yeah, probably between like 420 and probably between like 420 and 410. And then that way I could keep a tight stop loss, so that if it broke below 400, I would only lose like 4%. So that would be my ideal scenario if I was going to play something like this. Again, a little bit more of a higher risk versus reward, because if it does break out, and let's just say your average buy was 415, I mean, if it does break out, you could very easily make 15-20%, in my opinion, at the minimum on a breakout, and on a larger breakout you could make up to like 30%, double that. So you kind of have to ask yourself, or I would have to ask myself, is that worth my risk versus reward? Do I believe in this project? Does that risking 4 to 5% warrant me returning between 15 and 30%? So a little bit more of a risk versus reward ratio on something like AVE. But yeah, I mean, I think that if I could get a better entry from where it's at right now, I would feel more comfortable in it. But I definitely would not want to buy when it's currently rejecting the 50 EMA. So, we'll see. BNT to the USD. Now this one's not bad. Another thing, I have to go ahead and say this right now. I don't like buying low market cap cryptocurrencies when they are so high up like this, because it takes such a little amount of money for these things to just go through the floor. And that horrifies me. So like for this example, like BNT, what's the oh, this is Banker. I don't know how I forgot that ticker then. So what is Banker right now? It's number 76. Market cap of $892 million. Almost a billion. So first things first. Really like over here the 200 EMA. This 4-hour 200 EMA, it's riding this guy, bouncing off of it, hitting a new high, coming back, hitting a new high, coming back to the 200, hitting a new high, coming back to the 200 area, and then ultimately, this guy hit the new high, hit the 200, came back, hit another new high, and let's check out where this retraced to. So what was formerly resistance is now being used as support, and it's already started to see a bounce. So I really like what this chart is looking like. this is a very new high. I mean, it hit this new all-time high today. So it needs a little bit more time to kind of consolidate and figure out what it wants to do. But generally, when a cryptocurrency is using the former all-time high as support and bouncing off of it, like the way that this guy is right now, more often than not, in my opinion, that's a pretty good sign. It's already had over a 50% retrace. So not quite to that 618 area yet, but well on its way. So for myself, if I was looking at this guy, if I was looking at a buy order, I'd be placing buy orders at the previous all-time high, and it would have been maybe a little bit hard to get filled on this guy, but for the most part, depending on how tight you put that, you could have gotten filled. For continuing, volume's still good. I also really like this. So this is the RSI, and what I'm seeing over here that I really like is the fact that there's consistently higher swing lows, showing that upon every attempt to the downside, the bulls have just gotten stronger and stronger and stronger, and the bears have not had the vice versa of that. Now, if you were seeing the vice versa of that, when there was consistently lower swing highs, like, I don't know, maybe something like this, where there's a lower swing highs happening, or something even like this, that would be an area where I'd be actually pretty bearish on it. But we're seeing the vice versa of that happen, where there's consistently higher swing lows for such a large period of time, which is a nice thing to see on an altcoin that is, so much lower. Usually on these lower market cap altcoins, they kind of just have charts that are all over the place. There's no methodical movement or textbook movements to it. They are kind of just here, there, everywhere. The RSI is from 80 to 20 to 70 to 5. Like, it's just all over the place. And same thing with the candle chart. I mean, they're just all over the place. But with Banker right now, this actually has a really, really healthy chart, which is something that not a lot of cryptocurrency at its same market cap have. The way that it's interacting with the moving averages over here, when it breaks the 50, it goes to the 200. For the most part, it holds the 250. What was previously resistance up here is now being used to support. There's a lot of textbook movements happening in this, which is actually something that's really promising and something that I would imagine happen in a higher market cap cryptocurrency. So maybe that's a precursor that this guy is going to continue higher and move to a higher market cap. But ultimately, I actually really like this one. But it does make me nervous that its market cap is less than $1 billion and it's so high up, because, no joke, this thing could, let's measure this out. Anything, it's not even this one specifically, but anything in here could easily lose 30 to 50% of its value in so fast, days. So. But again, that kind of comes down to what you're comfortable trading. I mean, if you would have talked to me a couple of years ago, I traded so many small market cap cryptocurrencies and I loved it. Not brand new projects, but anything that was between 150 on the ranking list to 50 on the ranking list. And I would just trade the mess out of those. Like Pundi, Ravencoin. I don't even know what else there was. I don't even know what else I used to trade. There's a ton of them. But what were they called, man? I made videos on a couple of them. Encash, Nucleus Vision. There's a bunch of them. Anyway. So yeah, ultimately that comes down to what you are willing to risk, what your trading style is. Some people really like trading stuff like this because just as easily as it could move down 30%, it could rip 20%. I mean, if it were to go 20% from here, from where it's at right now, the wrong button. Yeah, I mean, that would just put this guy at, a little bit higher. I don't know. And we're seeing how big the range is on this too. Because the range on this guy from where it's at right now to this recent low, that's a 30% range. It's huge. So obviously this is a very, very volatile asset, which is good and bad. If you get caught, if you buy at the right place here, you make a ton of money really fast. If you buy at the wrong place and say Bitcoin and Ethereum start heading downhill, then this guy's going to head downhill 3 to 4 times faster than whatever Bitcoin and Ethereum are falling. So and if it's heading, I mean, this is like essentially trading leverage without trading leverage, which is good and bad. But ultimately, I think that this is one of the healthiest charts that I have seen on something that is ranked around the top 100 market cap. Like this is, I think, at 89 or 90 in terms of top market cap. I have it up on my other screen. Something like 76. So it's you know, it's not quite as low as I thought it was, but overall, very healthy chart. All right, what was happening in chat? Thoughts on Reef after Harmony One partnership and AMA addressing the supply increase for stability? Nothing that has a supply increase. I don't like supply increase. Yeah, it looks like people don't either. Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, I don't know when they announced it, but it's been falling, so I would imagine that's due to them announcing a supply increase. I don't like the look of this. Although I guess there is something I see. I mean, no matter how we draw this guy, if it breaks resistance here, then it could fly. Like, I mean, fly. But, I mean, if let's just say it breaks this resistance, it breaks out of this resistance line that we have, like, it can move 20% to the upside. So this would be something that I would maybe look at as like a momentum trade or a momentum play, where if I do see it breaking out, I would get into it and ride it. But so long as it continues to reject and they're going to increase supply, I would imagine it's not a good thing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this chart. I have never seen something that increases supply go good in the short term. Bitcoin BSV. What's the, if you tell me the ticker for Bitcoin BSV, I'll take a look at it. Zill. More people like Zill. I like your TA. Thank you. I traded Litecoin. Bitcoin can buy back in again. Awesome. What about Ethereum? I kept Ethereum. I keep Ethereum. Ethereum is around. Can buy later. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you for the donation. Always appreciate it. All right, we'll do Zill and we'll do Doge. It's number 10 on the DeFi market list. Ah, okay. That makes sense. All right, we'll do Zill and we will do Doge. Doge, I'm excited to talk about. Zilliqa. So, take note. I mean, we saw what this did before, right? This is what I mean by how altcoins that are lower-ish market cap can go from like 100 to 0 so fast. This is a prime example of it. I mean, let's just look at what it did last time. When it capped out over here, this is on a 3-day chart. Within a couple weeks, it lost 60% of its value. Like literally, I mean, this is a 3-day. 1, 2, 3, maybe seven candles. It lost 60% of its value. I mean, if the crypto market flips, I mean, 60% of your value is a ton of money. So that's the only thing that I get nervous about with some of these altcoins. And buying them so high without a stop loss. I mean, if you have a stop loss, then you really don't got much to worry about. But besides getting stopped out, this is something that I kind of like. Pretty nice support line. I'm going to move this over to a 4-hour so we can view this a little bit better. But actually a really, really nice support line happening over here on Zilliqa, because we can see it bouncing and bouncing and holding this 50 EMA as well. I think that any kind of a golden pocket for me on Zilliqa is if we zoom in anywhere between like this 50 EMA to this support line right in here, that would kind of be my golden pocket for a Zilliqa buy. because then my risk versus reward would, let's actually draw a risk versus reward up. So let's just say this is it, and we're gonna put our stop loss right here. So we're gonna risk 4%, and if it goes to anywhere, we'll just say that has a lower swing high, go up to here. That'll give us around a 2.36 risk versus reward, with risking 4% to make 10%. Not necessarily a ratio that I like. I think that you could definitely have the stop loss even tighter depending on when you buy over in here. Like, let's just say you buy lower and you have your stop loss a little lower. I think that we can increase that to like a 3 or a 4 risk versus reward ratio, and that would be something that I would be okay with taking. So I think that this could be one of those actually really, really strong trades, depending on where you buy it. I guess every trade is, but this one especially. Now, if this gets below this area, I would say even if it gets below like this area, I would start getting pretty nervous. It doesn't get bought back up. So, yeah, I mean, nice support line. I mean, it's hard to argue against buying at support in a bull market, right? I think Mark Cuban said it really well. Like, there's a lot of, and this is another rant, this is another little side rant, but like, there's so many people right now that are like, oh, I know what I'm doing in crypto. Like, have you seen how much money I've made this year? And they have got like this business face on, like this Wolf of Wall Street face on, where they're like, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good at investing in crypto. But there's a Mark Cuban quote that's like, it's like something like anyone can make money in a bull market, which is so true. When cryptocurrency is up 1,500% in 9 months and people are acting like they've got it all figured out, it's like, anyone, I mean, you can have blind people making money in this market. I mean, people are throwing money at stuff and it's making 20, 30, 100% return. I think with buying at support, if I was to buy at support here, it would be setting myself up for the best possible risk versus reward ratio, and I would have the best potential return on investment because I would limit my losses by doing that. So when I'm trading something that is a little bit more, and Zilliqa's not even that low of a market cap. What is it? It's 54. So it's like pushing out of the mainstream alts. But yeah, I mean, if it broke here, I mean, this thing would tank, right? I mean, that's kind of the one scary thing is that if it really started to break down, like it would fall relatively fast for like a semi-mainstream altcoin. But I don't know. I kind of like this chart. It has the 50 EMA. It has a support line. Like, this would be something like, I know old me would have taken this in a heartbeat. Like, no thoughts. I would have been like, all right, I enter here, put a stop loss in, and probably sell somewhere around here, you know, maybe hold on to it. If I see any rejection, then I'll look to sell around here. But, you know, if I'm not seeing any rejection and it's getting up towards this all-time or this yearly high territory, I mean, it could break through and I would ride it. And so we might be even approaching that level tonight because it's still moving downwards as we're on the stream. So let's look at the Bollinger Bands. Yeah. Whew. Thanks. I want to buy because Zilliqa will heat up once everything gets tired of BNB and DeFi. Nice. Oh, that's Slice Keeper. What's up, Slice Keeper? Great to have you, man. So yeah, that is what we are looking like in the world of cryptocurrency. Oh, look at this. Look at this. You never know when you're going to find a gem. That's triple bullish divergence. So, that's awesome. I'm liking this more and more. It's at a pretty neutral spot on the RSI too, with a really healthy buildup. I mean, the consistently higher swing lows over here. Yeah, this might be my favorite one that I've looked at tonight. The only thing that scares me is that this is one of the ones that, like, if it breaks down, it is omega breaking down. But I mean, the signs seem to say that it's like gonna bottom out pretty soon here and just take off. Assuming that Bitcoin and Ethereum hold their own, I mean, the upside on this is looking like easily 10%. I mean, yeah, easily at least 10%. Huh. Alright, cool. I'm pretty interested. Where can I trade Zell? Binance, Bitfinex, but I'm gonna keep an eye on this guy. But I do think I'm gonna go ahead and call the stream there, guys. If you guys do want a link to the Discord and just to chat, again, I'm always chatting about stuff in there. So are a lot of the people in the stream. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a link to that in the comment section. By all means, you guys are able to join that for free. No strings attached. So if you guys want to hop in there, do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and shut off the stream because I need to get some rest and chill out. But I appreciate all of you guys coming in here. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button, smack the like button, and I will see all of you guys soon. I'm going to try to get some videos out this week, but I have been slammed. One of the things I was saying at the beginning is that when I'm making a lot of videos, it's because I'm trading a lot. And when I'm not trading a lot, I'm making a lot of videos. So it's kind of the trade-off where I'm either doing like a ton of trading and real estate stuff, and when I'm not doing that, then I'm able to make a lot of videos. So it's kind of finding that balance. And I also, I mean, I work full-time. So it's finding that balance of trading and making video and real estate and videos now. So, but yeah, one of the things I was also talking about is whether to not make a second channel. And some of you guys heard me talking about this earlier. Still debating this. I think because I know if I made a second channel, I would have such a little amount of content. Like I would have like one video on each one every like 2 weeks. But if I pulled all the videos into a single channel, I would have like multiple videos a week. So that's another thing. So we'll see. This channel might expand to slightly beyond cryptocurrency into everything that I do as investments, because I do like futures contracts, stocks, precious metals, cryptocurrencies, leverage trading, and now real estate. I mean, there's just a lot of other stuff that I do. So odds are I pull that stuff into this channel at some point, but keep an eye out for that. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this, guys. Thank you guys all much for the stream. Really, really do appreciate it. And all of you guys chatting. Hopefully more content this week. And if you guys have any questions in the meantime, by all means, shoot me a message on either email or Discord, and happy to talk to you. All right, everybody. Have a great night. I hope all of you guys have a great start to your week, wherever you guys are from, and I will talk to all of you very, very soon.